Hey buddies, welcome to another of my collection videos. This will be my Nintendo 64 collection. As you can see, I have two Nintendo 64s. You might be wondering, why would you want two Nintendo 64s? Well, I want one in every room. If I could have one in my bathroom, I would. But not really. What started out as I wanted one in my van, and bought one for my van. So when I would cruise around, or if I'm in a parking lot, waiting for someone to get out of a grocery store, or go somewhere and sitting. Nowadays you got PSP, whatever. Well, I can play Nintendo 64 with my with a regular TV and all that in my van. But yeah. So let me tell you a little bit of the story of Nintendo 64. When it first came out, before it came out, the PlayStation was dominant, and the PlayStation came out and took everybody by surprise because it's the first time that I know of that you could use memory cards and stuff like that on a console and save your progress and stuff. And gone were the days of passwords. It was awesome. But anyway, so everybody was clamoring, waiting for Nintendo's next big thing because Sega CD came and went, and we were waiting for a new CD system for Nintendo, and that never happened. So PlayStation came out and blew everybody out of the water. But so me and my friend was calling Nintendo all the time. He was using his dad's credit card, calling Nintendo of America, or Nintendo, and we would call them, and they were telling us about the future of the Nintendo 64. And I've been reading magazines this time, and it's talking about Nintendo 64 and stuff, and how it's going to be a 64-bit console, and we're like, oh, okay, great. How good is that going to be? So we'd call them, and the guy on the phone was telling us how great Nintendo 64 was and how better it was than PlayStation. Practically all he said that was better on this was that he said it had better 3D than PlayStation. And how he said it was better was he said, you know how when you walk around a PlayStation game, say, or a race car game, you go up to a wall and it's got all those little square pixels all over the place? I was like, yeah. He goes, well, Nintendo 64 don't have that. Everything's smooth, crystal clear 3D. I was like, really? Yeah. I was like, wow, that looks awesome. I want to try that. He's also saying, you know how PlayStation has those really sucky load times? I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah. Well, Nintendo 64 ain't going to have load times. I was like, really? Yeah. He's like, yeah. He goes, you know how PlayStation has to use that memory card stuff? And I was like, yeah. He goes, well, a majority of the Nintendo 64 games, you can save right on the game. I was like, really? Wow, cool. So I was excited. I was excited about this stuff. But what the Joker was leaving out was, and what we all soon came to find out was, no matter how much Nintendo hyped up this new console, the cartridges, as wonderful as they are, and as kid-friendly as they are, you know, they're not prone to scratches and stuff like CDs. These things hold way less space than a CD would. Let's put it this way. It's like CD versus Blu-ray. You know, it's a huge leap in space, and what that means is these cartridges, if it was a port from a PlayStation game, had to be chopped up, man. Like, it couldn't hold full motion video, you know, and stuff like that. And the one game that I know on here that does do full motion video is Resident Evil 2, and it's, I think, the biggest cartridge of this whole lot, or out of all of the games. It's 64 megabytes, which is way less than PlayStation. PlayStation holds CDs hold up to 700 megabytes, okay, and 64 megabytes ain't even 100 megabytes. So anyways, even though they was able to fit a little bit of the full motion video of Resident Evil 2 into a cartridge, they had to compress it like crazy. Compress. So the sound is just dingy and dull, and the video is pixelated and blotchy for what it's worth. But I gotta say, despite that, I gotta take up from Resident Evil 2. I gotta say, if you want to have one Resident Evil 2 of them all, you want the Nintendo 64 version, because it does have extra stuff that the other ones don't. Change the blood color, has different costumes, and plus it has the X-Files. If you don't know what the X-Files are, it gives more backstory into the Resident Evil 2 lore, or Resident Evil 1 lore, and it explains a lot more stuff. But I like Resident Evil 2 on Nintendo 64. Because you got to put it this way. They took two full CD games that was on PlayStation, because Resident Evil 2 was 2 discs. One was Claire, one was Leon. They fit them both on a cartridge, 64 megabytes. Yeah. One of the rare Capcom games on the Nintendo 64, and by far my favorite. Number one on the Nintendo 64 list is Resident Evil 2. But anyway. So, back to what the title screen says. TriStar Nintendo 64. Let's talk about this Nintendo 64. back in the day, I was like, well, okay, cartridges, you know. Wouldn't it be cool if Nintendo 64 could play Super Nintendo? Wouldn't it be cool if it could play regular Nintendo? Well, year 1 went by after it came out. Year 2 came and went. Year 3 came. All these years, no backwards compatibility. This sucker never did have it. Well, let me tell you, buddies. After all these years, the Nintendo 64 can finally play Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 and regular Nintendo games. I introduced you to the TriStar 64. 8-bit, 16-bit adapter for Nintendo 64. Whoa! Now let me tell you. Isn't that cool? This thing can play Nintendo games, Super Nintendo games, and Nintendo 64 games. But wait a minute. That's only 3 games. What's all this other stuff on here? Oh my gosh. Japanese Famicom games? And Japanese Super Nintendo games? Super Famicom games? What? Yeah. This thing that plugs on top of the Nintendo 64. Wow. Locked and loaded. Kaboom. Can not only play N64, SNES, and NES, but it plays the other region stuff too. Oh my gosh, what the heck? Stop the press. No, this thing plays... This essentially not only plays all 3 systems, but it plays all 3 systems region free. What? Yeah, you can play. And that's the reason why I bought this sucker. I was wondering, is the Nintendo 64 region free? Because WCW vs. NWO World Tour has a Japanese version. It's called Virtual Pro Wrestling. And that version also got a sequel, but those games are altered from this version, and they weren't released in the US. So I wanted to play those Japanese games. And people say, yeah, you can take the Nintendo 64 and open it up, get in here, and you can chop at the plastic and cut it and modify it, and it'll be able to play region-free shit. But this here automatically does all that. Just plug it in and it alters it automatically. But let me tell you, this thing ain't cheap, folks. A couple years ago, it was $150. Now I think it goes for like $350. So yeah, it's not cheap. So, and they're very rare, so you better hurry up and get them while you can. And I bought this one and I was so excited to get it. So, what? Not only does it do all that, but this thing has a built-in Game Shark. What? Yeah, and I used it too. I played so the Game Shark. It don't have Game Genie, I don't think. And it don't cheat for Super Nintendo or NES games, but it does cheat for Nintendo 64 games. It's called X-Terminator, and yeah, it'll let you cheat. I used it for Infinite Health on Killer Instinct, and I beat that game. Beat it on normal, and it still said, "Oh, play it on a harder difficulty to get the real ending." I was so pissed off. Anyway, so there's the pluses and all this stuff of the Nintendo 64 TriStar. It comes with the Nintendo 64 TriStar system. Well, what comes with it out of the box? It's just bare bones box, and it comes with just a regular old adapter. It comes with its own power supply. And there's a couple problems with this thing, but they're not really problems, because I can solve those problems. Those problems ain't problems, because I'm a problem solver. GameStreator 1 talked about how whenever we put Super Nintendo games in here, they're real hard to get out. Like, you know, you gotta fight to get them out. And you might be wondering, isn't this always open? No, it's not always open. My recommendation to you is always keep a CD in it, or a cartridge in it. And but anyway, he's right. Whenever you put a cartridge in the NES or Super NES slot, you gotta fight them to get them out real hard. So I come up with a solution for that. Game Genie, folks. You put the Game Genie in there like that, and it acts as a pass-through. Plus, anybody who owns a Super Nintendo or Nintendo has got to have a Game Genie. Because some of those games are freaking shoddy at best. Let's talk about Castlevania, anybody? Some of those games are too damn hard, so you gotta have to get through that shit. But anyway, so yeah, you use the Game Genies as a pass-through, and the games are easy to get out of the Game Genie. See how easy that was? And yeah. Plus, you want to use the Game Genies too, because you know anything about cartridges. Let me give you an example. The Nintendo. Everybody knows the Nintendo regular NES system. It laid flat, so the game's laid flat and all the pins would touch. But when you got it sitting up like this, the games wave over or wave like that. They like wade, and all the pins ain't touching. So what you gotta do is you gotta take like something and put it in between here, in between this flap, say like a memory card or something. And what it'll do is it'll push that back. Son of a biscuit eater! Well, you get the idea. And it'll push that back, and it'll make all the pins touch. Because when I first got I almost sent this thing back in and got my money back because the dang thing, that when you play Super Mario Brothers on there, the picture was all blocky and glitched up, and I was like, what the hell? Damn thing don't work. Well, as it turned out, I went over there and put a Super Nintendo cartridge cover. There's a little white cover, and I slid it in between here, and what it did was it pushed this back, pushed the cartridge back, and it made it flush against all the pins, and the game worked perfect. But some games, let me tell you straight off the bat, folks, this is compatible with NES, but I guess it's not compatible with all NES games. I don't know. Let me just tell you, Bad Dudes, fuck, it won't work. I play Bad Dudes on regular Nintendo just fine. I have 2 regular Nintendo consoles, but I play it on this. After, say, 5 minutes of gameplay, after you finally get it to work, you're excited, you're playing on, you're like, yay, and then the screen gets all blotched up, a bunch of squares, and it has a bunch of numbers all over the place. So it just locks up and freezes up, messes up. Also, another downfall I have with this console, the TriStar system, is the NES. I've read the NES in this thing uses an emulator. It emulates NES. And the emulator doesn't do a very good job of emulating the sound. Now, the sound ain't glitchy or nothing, but it's just high-pitched. Like, when you're playing Mario Brothers, you know it has a distinctive, whenever you jump, it goes boom, boom, boom. Well, in this one, it's high-pitched, like bing, bing, bing. I couldn't do it. Alright, well, anyway, that's the Nintendo 64 TriStar system. And I have one other gripe about this console. It doesn't take NES games right off the bat. It uses a NES to Famicom adapter. So this thing not only, I mean, think of all the, so you got a pass-through going through the cartridge slider there. You got to use, and when you use this, you always must have a Nintendo 64 cartridge in there to play the games, because it acts as a pass-through. And then once you got this plugged in, you can leave all the cartridges in at once. You can have them all plugged in at once, and there you have it. Or here you go. Here's an even bigger monstrosity. There's a monstrosity right there, folks. You got the Nintendo 64 TriStar, Game Shark, Nintendo 64 games, Game Genie, Super Nintendo games, Game Genie, regular Nintendo games. So there you have it. But if I haven't already mentioned, this does have a Game Shark built in. So this is, and the cartridge here are pretty easy to get out. The Nintendo 64 cartridges are easy to slide in and out. But since the NES and Super Nintendo games are real hard to fiddle-daddle with to get out, just use a Game Genie in there as a pass-through, and then you just easily just use the Game Genie to slide the games in and out. But yeah, that's awesome. Not only does this play all those games, this takes the footprint of 6 consoles and only takes up two plug-in spots. So this is very unique. I love it. I have it in my master living room, and it takes place of all those consoles, and I love it. And you're gonna want to keep your cartridges in one of these slots so they don't get dust in there. But yeah, there's the Nintendo 64 TriStar. I don't know what the hell this thing does. This is a little button. I don't know what it's for, but I don't know. You don't have any instructions with it. It don't come with any instructions, I don't think. No, it didn't come with any instructions. So, there you have it. There's the TriStar system. Now let's talk about my games collection. Over here I have them all separated, and this is the way I do all my games. We have our third-person action-adventure stuff. Then we have our fighting games. Then we have our racing games. Then we have our first-person shooters. And you can see which ones I like the most is the the third-person action stuff. So let's get on down to my collection. Resident Evil 2, it's a must-have for the Nintendo 64 system, even though it's ported to PC. Well, I'm one of those guys. If I like them all, I'll get them all. I'll get every one of them. I own all of them. PC, you name it. Nintendo 64, PS2, Dreamcast, Resident Evil 2, got them all. But this is the most unique version because it does have extra stuff that none of the others does, like the X-Files. I imagine you can go on YouTube and watch the X-Files read to you or whatever, but you don't want to play the game. Plus, this is the only version that does 640. It uses the RAM cart and upscales some of the game to give you higher resolution. But still, of course, PC and Dreamcast looks better. But anyway, so let's go on. I got Nightmare Creatures, Castlevania. Everybody gives Castlevania on Nintendo 64 a bad rap, but I really enjoyed it. I want to say I love it, but I can't love it. I mean, I like it a lot. It's very fantastic. I remember the first time me and my brother was playing this game, and we saw that giant skeleton come out of the ground. We were like, whoa, we were blown away, man. He's chasing you and shit. Awesome game, awesome game. But I gotta say, whenever I got to the Nitro area, I was pissed. Because you gotta walk around and carry some Nitro on you, and you gotta walk on top of mazes, and if you so much as fall, you're dead. And no, folks, the Game Shark won't even help you. If you fall, you're dead anyway. So, anyway, Body Harvest. Going to Body Harvest. I have just a few Kart covers, and for instance, I gotta say the boxes are overrated. I don't really care about the boxes that much, because I take and I label the tops of them like this, and I got them all stacked. It's more convenient. But I got a few boxes. But Body Harvest. There's a story behind Body Harvest. This is one of those Johnny-come-lately games that I never knew about then, but I had to learn about now, and I really like now. And if you're a fan of the Grand Theft Auto series like I am, have you ever wondered how Grand Theft Auto went from top-down view, which was Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, and then Grand Theft Auto, what was it, London pack? How it went from that to Grand Theft Auto 3, and how Grand Theft Auto 3 was 3D and open world and all that stuff? Well, here you have Body Harvest. Body Harvest is essentially the engine for Grand Theft Auto 3. The makers of this game, and not Midway, but the people who made the game, I want to say IDK or whatever. Anyway, they was a subsidiary of T2K Games, and they took this engine and brought it to Grand Theft Auto, and now we have Grand Theft Auto 3, and it's been a success ever since. Well, anyway, if you want a Grand Theft Auto type game on Nintendo 64, this is the one you want. It's a alien invasion storyline, but you can get into tanks and machines. You can get into it's an open world. You can run around and get in houses, go into houses, and it's a third-person shooter. You're a little man. You can walk around and drive anything in the game, and take on giant aliens and stuff, and it's an awesome game. And to me, this is Grand Theft Auto on Nintendo 64. I tried it out, I saw the reviews of it, and I saw the gameplay of it, and I loved it, and I bought it, and I can't say I'm disappointed. I really enjoy this game. I plan on beating it one of these games. I plan on beating it one of these days. I'll play it with a flight stick, it's even better. Indiana Jones, folks. Indiana Jones is a great game. This is an upgraded version from the PC version. Nintendo 64 didn't get a Tomb Raider, but it got an Indiana Jones, and it's a pretty good game. Star Wars. Every console has a Star Wars. So this is Nintendo 64's best Star Wars game, I think. It's an open world, third-person adventure. Well, not really open world like Grand Theft Auto, but it's you go through, shoot stuff, and this is only if you ever wanted to take down one of the walkers and stuff like that. This has different sections. You're flying in some sections. You're walking around in some sections. Third-person shooter. It's an awesome game. Scooby-Doo. I like Scooby-Doo. This is a third-person action adventure game where you go chase down some of the classic ghosts from the series and the cartoon series, and I love it. It's awesome. And no, Nintendo 64 console collection would be complete without Super Mario 64. This is the first game that was reported or released for this console. I remember a friend of mine, a girl, she had this with that, and that's the first time I ever played it. And To this day, I've never beat it, but I plan on beating it, but I'm waiting to play it in stereoscopic 3D. You say, 3D, huh? I was like, yeah. There's 2D to 3D converters, and all these games are going to look awesome with the 3D converter. Paper Mario is a 2D slash 2.5 3D action adventure game. Must have if you're a fan of Mario. Donky Kong 64 is a 3D open world type Mario. This is like what if Mario 64 had Donkey Kong 64, same concept. Banjo Kazooi, same thing, except for this one you can fly and stuff like that with this bird animal. It was successful. Had a couple sequels since then. Banjo Tooie was out on 64, and they've even come out with a new one on PS2, I believe. I'm not sure. But Vigilante 8, I'm a big fan of the series. I own all of them now. Vigilante 8. I even own the Xbox Live Arcade new one. But the Nintendo 64 is awesome. Love playing it with the steering wheel. And it don't have the full motion video of the PlayStation 1, but it does have that Garud shading. If you don't know Garud shading or Garage shading, it's 3D pixels. There ain't no squares in those pixels. But it's a great 3D game, third-person shooter, run around shooting each other in cars and stuff. And slim and far between are the flight games, but flight games are third-person shooters, so Star Fox 64. No 64 collection will be complete without Star Fox 64, and that's the main reason why I bought all those flight sticks. I got a flight stick over there. We'll get to those here in a little bit. Nuclear Strike. Oh, man. If you like the Strike series, which I like them a lot, I'm a real big fan. I've been playing Strike. I mean, exclusive to Sega Genesis for a while was the Desert Strike, and then it was ported to everything else, Desert Strike, and then succeeded to Soviet Strike, and then Urban Strike, and then Jungle Strike, or whatever. Not in that particular order, but Nuclear Strike, even though used 3D FX on PC, well, the Nintendo 64 might be the best looking version. But yeah, it's awesome to play with a flight stick, and yeah, you're a little helicopter, you go around blowing stuff up. Why wouldn't you like that? Since then, it's got an unofficial sequel. It's called Future Cop LAPD. It's the last in the Strike series. It's only on PlayStation. But anyway, AirFighters Assault. This is a fun airplane simulator on Nintendo 64, and it's two-player. You can dogfight each other in the air, go around shooting each other down, which is why I bought two arcade flight sticks. See, I got the Mad Catz flight stick over there, and then I got the Nitro stick. But a secret between me and you, Nitro stick is the best arcade stick. Nitro stick is the best flight stick for Nintendo 64. Don't tell nobody. No, I'm just playing. You tell everybody. Wait, I'm on YouTube. Everybody knows. Oh my god. Oh. All right. Astroids 64. If you like Astroids, I mean, this is a nice upgrade to the series, and it's an airplane shooter and works great with a flight stick. Why am I keep going over there to the flight stick? Well, because after all these years, it took the 3DO to tell me that you can play these games with a flight stick, third-person shooters. Who'd have fucking thought? But anyway, my fighting games. Now we'll go to the fighting games. We got Sub-Zero. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, so I have to have all the Mortal Kombat stuff about all of them. Now, Injustice Gods Among Us is out right now. It's made by Mortal Kombat guys, but there's no fatalities and there's no Mortal Kombat characters, so I'm not buying it. It's like there's a new Killer Instinct out. Oh, hang on, let me talk about that here in a minute. But Mortal Kombat Trilogy is awesome. This is a great version. It has extras that the PS1 version don't have. It has extras that even the Sega Saturn don't have, so gotta have it. Mortal Kombat 4 is an awesome game. I love it. I mean, I can't say I love it, but I like it a lot. And I beat the hell out of it with about 4 people. Beat it with Liu Kang, Raiden, and Scorpion, of course. My favorite Mortal Kombat character, if you don't know, is Scorpion. I like his fatality. He burns the hell out of him. Killer Instinct Gold. This is supposed to be Killer Instinct 2, but I guess they couldn't fit the actual Killer Instinct 2, the arcade game, onto this cartridge, so they had it dumbed down. I remember Killer Instinct 2 was at the arcades, and it said, coming exclusive to the Ultra Nintendo 64 console. Oh, that's something I failed to mention, too. This was initially supposed to be called the Ultra Nintendo 64, and I still call it the Ultra 64 when I'm posting stuff about it, but turns out they couldn't use the Ultra name because it was copywritten by somebody else, so they couldn't call it Ultra, so they just called it Nintendo 64. But anyway, Killer Instinct Gold 2, for a little backstory for you. Killer Instinct 2 when it was talking about being ported to the Nintendo 64. This, just like the Crusin USA, where's my favorite Crusin USA? Crusin USA. Both these games, I remember when I went to the arcades and seen them. That's where they're right next to each other too. But both of them said exclusively coming to the Ultra 64, and I was so excited. I was like, yeah, you know. But the versions that we got, just like any arcade to console, except for Neo Geo shit, is dumbed down and chopped to bits. It's not the actual arcade, but it's not the actual arcade version. You know, like this had to be called Killer Instinct Gold instead of Killer Instinct 2 because it was actually so different. It was so altered. But for what it's worth, the Nintendo 64 kicks ass with these games. These games are awesome, and I'll tell you some more about Crusin USA when I get there. But War Gods, a little back. This is awesome 3D fighter. It's got fatalities in it, and I like any game with fatalities in it. I like the uncensored stuff, and a little backstory for War Gods for you. This was used as a midway template in the arcades of an upgrade, and if this was successful and if it succeeded, that's how they was going to do Mortal Kombat 4. This was used as a test dummy by Midway to see if a 3D fighting game would be successful, and sure enough it was. So here came Mortal Kombat 4 next. Biofreaks, it's another game like War Gods. You got these freaking self-mutilated robot cyborg hints type of fighters, and you're fighting it out, and you got fatalities, and it's really awesome. Mace Dark Age of Combat is like a medieval take on the whole 3D fighting genre, and it was a must-have if you're a fighting game, if you like fighting games, and they have fatalities in this, and I really enjoy it. Fighter's Destiny, I guess it's Nintendo 64's version of Virtual Fighter. I mean, there's no fatalities as far as I know, and it has ring outs. You know, you knock them out of the ring. That's Fighter. Now, here's where we get into the other fighters. We got Clayfighter, 63 and a third. I hate when they do that shit. Keep the damn things numbered. This is not Clayfighter 63. It's Clayfighter 3. Damn it. But what's awesome about this is it has, guess who? Earthworm Jim. Yeah, this has Earthworm Jim in it. I really like that. But that came out, and I guess later on it got an update. It was called Clayfighter Sculptor's Cut, and director's Frosty takes on 63 and a third. So this is a Blockbuster exclusive, which is really rare now. A Blockbuster exclusive Clayfighter. It adds more characters and fixes some gameplay balances and stuff like that. But yeah, back then, whenever a patch came out, they released a whole game, and I really enjoy that. You know, and here's my favorite line of games for the Nintendo 64. Out of all these games, sure, Resident Evil 2 is my favorite Resident Evil 2. But the most hours I spent on this console is with No Mercy. WWF No Mercy. Matter of fact, I like this game so much. I'm usually not hard-headed and I'm usually not stubborn. But I like this game so much that I've boycotted in every single wrestling game since. I don't play any more wrestling games until they make another one of these. Or at least use the engine from this. So what we got here is we got WCW vs. NWO World Tour, WCW vs. NWO Revenge, WrestleMania 2000, and then No Mercy. And what happened was, each one of these games, and I love consistency, it upgraded, but it kept all the same moveset, same engine, just upgraded the engine, kept the same taunt engine and everything else, and it just got better over time. Well, No Mercy was the last one that was released, and I hate that. But I like how it kept to the formula, and I pretty much graduated from each one each year, and then after that I stopped doing it, so I quit doing it. So I spent like probably 4 years in No Mercy all by myself. I don't know, 2 or 3 years, and I just kept making. What's awesome is you can take this game and you can make all the characters from all these other games, because it keeps all the taunts and stuff. If there's a wrestler in any of these games, you can put it in that game. I have the complete roster from WCW in here. Even some wrestlers that there ain't, like Kamala, I put him in there. But alright, so that explains that. This is WCW vs. NWO was the first game that made us, me and my buddies, want a Nintendo 64. When this came out for that, because we'd been playing WCW vs. the World on PlayStation, and the sequel, WCW vs. NWO World Tour only came to 64. PlayStation didn't get a sequel. So, we jumped ship to 64 after that. Now let's get to, and then here's some crappy, WCW, I guess when they lost the license to THQ and stuff like that, they started making crappy games. Mayhem and Backstage Assault, they never were going to be successful again. They soon went out of business. No 64 collection would be complete without Mario Kart 64. Got a lot of hours on that. Must have, and play it with a Concept 4 interactive racing wheel. Road Rash, if you're a fan of Road Rash, people give this game slack because it's slow. And I do have one gripe about this, but it's Road Rash, man. Who cares? You gotta love Road Rash. The gripe I have with this is no matter how far you get above everybody in the race, they rubber band right up to you. Same goes for Mario Kart. You can slaughter the computer all you want. They'll still catch right back up to you. But, oh well. I guess it keeps it action-packed and keeps the gameplay flowing. Now, we get to Crusin USA. Oh, Crusin USA, I have much memories with you. In the arcade, oh, I loved it, man. The music. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. But anyway, a friend of mine got this over at his house. His name was Evan, and he got this on the console, and I was so pissed off because you used the Nintendo 64 analog stick with this game, and it's just not. You're not used to playing this in arcade with the steering wheel, and I was like, no way. I gave up on it. I didn't like it. It's not what I remember from the arcades. I mean, just because the arcade had the steering wheel, right? Well, some years later, I thought I'd give it another try with this steering wheel. And sure enough, it's as good as the arcade or better now. So I liked it so much with the steering wheel, I went ahead and bought its sequels, Crusin World and Crusin Exotica. And it's awesome. Crusin Exotica takes you places like, it's whacked out, stupid arcade fun, like you driving on the moon or you're driving underwater in the ocean. It's pretty cool. Ridge Racer 64, oh my god. This is a port done right, and it's one thing I like about ports. It's a Ridge Racer on PlayStation. Ridge Racer on PlayStation was one of my first PlayStation games, and I beat the hell out of that game. But anyway, it was basically the same track modified 3 ways. But anyway, the Nintendo 64 port of that game takes that game engine, adds a shitload more cars, and gives you way more tracks. It don't have the same soundtrack, but if you're a Ridge Racer fan from the PlayStation, get yourself the Ridge Racer 64 version because it has a lot more stuff, and it shocked the hell out of me that it had so much stuff. More cars, more tracks. Top Gear Rally. I remember playing this game. It was so much fun. I played it. It was fun with even an analog stick, but it's way more better with the arcade with the Concept 4 steering wheel. Then I got Ridge Race, Top Gear Rally 2. Then we got F-Zero X. F-Zero. Come on now. This game alone is the only thing that makes me want to buy the Nintendo 64 disc drive. And if you don't know about the disc drive, it's a Japanese exclusive add-on for the Nintendo 64. It puts a disc drive underneath it, and it takes discs, like computer floppy disk type stuff. And F-Zero is the one game that got upgraded only in Japan. But this game is fun. If you like Wipeout or something like that, but you go through huge, insane loops, and you're like a hover car. You're flying. You can tilt you can fly up and down, kind of, and it's just a real fun racer, and it's real awesome. I had a lot of memories with that. 4-player, just like Mario Kart and the others. But Extreme G is like a motorcycle version of F-Zero X. It's not as good because it's the tracks ain't as wide as they are in that. The tracks are real slim, but for what it's worth, if you can master the tracks, the Extreme G and Extreme G2 are real fun motorcycle racers. Wipeout 64. If you like Wipeout on PlayStation, give the 64 version a try. I did. I like it. That's all I can say about that very much. Star Wars Racer. I wasn't a fan of it when it came out, but since I got the steering wheel, I like it now. 1080 racing. Oh my gosh. Snowboarding. 1080. Snowboarding racing. I got some memories with this. I go over to my friend's house, and my friend have a friend. You ever had one of those friends that you're supposed to be their best friend, but then they make a new best friend and they call them their best friend? Well, I never liked their best friend because I'm supposed to be his best friend. But then he invites his other best friend over, and we start playing this game together. Next thing you know, we're all best friends. I mean, I liked him. We had so much fun playing this game together. It made his best friend my new best friend. So it kind of switched. Like, my best friend had a friend. He was calling his best friend, but I was supposed to be his best friend. Confusing? Well, anyway, after his best friend came over, we all played this together. His best friend that took the place of me was now my best friend that took the place of him for a little while. It's crazy. Crazy how a game can make you not like somebody and then like somebody. Monster Truck Madness. Oh my gosh. Why would you want that game? Well, it's an awesome racer, number one, but this has the exclusive NWO WCW monster trucks. It has the Hulk Hogan truck, the Sting truck, you know. That's why I got it. 'Cause at the time, I'm a Hulkamaniac, Jack. Step back. Doom 64. Let's get to the first-person shooters. Nintendo 64 is an innovator. Let's give Nintendo 64 its credit. It was the innovator. It introduced this little thing. I know when it first got introduced, I was like, yeah, this is innovative. It was the first time you could ever like have analog walking and steering for a home console. But Sony PlayStation, I'm sorry to say, later came out and perfected it. But yeah, Nintendo was so confused on if it would work or not. They went ahead and kept the digital pad just in case people wanted to just use digital, so they kept both. But yeah, I remember when this was advertised in the magazines, it had people holding it different ways. Like, you can hold it with this way, or you can hold it like this, and I was like, huh? But pretty cool. It's got a trigger underneath it there. It holds a memory card. Also, another thing Nintendo was innovative with was Rumble Pack. They introduced, I do believe they were the first to introduce Rumble on a controller. And it vibrates and shakes and stuff. It gives you force feedback, sort of. But that's pretty cool. But let's talk about accessories now. Oh wait, before I get into accessories, let's talk about the first-person shooters. I got Doom 64. This is an awesome game, and I'm telling you, if you like Doom on PlayStation, if you like the original Doom and Doom 2 and all that stuff, do not think this is a separate game. This is a standalone game on its own, and the best way to play this game is with that flight stick, the Nitro flight stick. Well, you could play it with the dual arcade stick, but I prefer with the flight stick. Next up, Turok. If you like dinosaurs and you like Doom, take Doom, put it in dinosaurs. No, I mean, this is kind of like Doom, but first-person shooter. I mean, but you go around. I mean, it was awesome, man. Get all kinds of cool weapons and stuff. But this did introduce some. What you didn't notice it back then. It was called fog. Fog back then, but really what it is view distance. This has a very short view distance. Like as you walk up on stuff, you see a bunch of fog, and then the stuff appears. Well, that was a cool way that they could show distance clipping. But yeah, awesome game. I still like it to this day. But did you know the PC version of this is even better? Well, yeah, but it's only better if you use 3DFX. Then we'll go to Turok 2. Now keep in mind, Turok 2, and I think Turok 3 even. They all got PC releases, but it was for a thing called Windows 95. And I didn't even know what Windows 95 was at the time. But did you know, could you believe that these games on the Windows 95 had like Dreamcast graphics? I mean, even though these games I do believe use, Turok 2 and Turok 3 especially, use their extra RAM cart for the 360. I mean, not 360, but the extra RAM cart. See that little red thing in there? It adds 8 megabytes of RAM, I believe, and which it was 4 megabytes, and it gave the Nintendo 64 more boost and capabilities and made the graphics better. For example, on Resident Evil 2, it made it upscale stuff to 460 by 640 by 480 resolution, which time I guess was a big deal. Standard definition was a big deal back then. But yeah, then we'll move on to Turok 3. It's a great game. All I can say is that I like the first one, so I went ahead and bought the rest. And I've been a fan ever since. I've been buying every single one of them, and I like them all. I own all of them now. Turok Rage Wars, I guess, is multiplayer only. It's kind of like Quake to where I don't think it has a storyline or nothing. It's just you and 4 split screen folks can run through and kill each other, which I think all those other ones have that too. I'm not sure. But 007 is the innovator in that field. This, I remember getting slaughtered by my friends. Everybody killed me on this game. I never was good at it, but since I got good memories of getting killed in this game, I went ahead and bought it. As it turned out, I wasn't the only one that liked it back then. Everybody liked it. And it never really got a successor till here recently. An HD remake called 007 Reloaded was introduced on Wii and then upscaled to HD and put on PS3, which I plan on getting because it utilizes PS Move, which I'm a real fan of. And but it doesn't have Pierce Brosnan in it. The new one don't, but this one does. And this is awesome. Just like all these other first-person shooters, you know what these are all also have? They all have God mode and invincibility codes. You can unlock stuff. Now we get to the cream of the crop, the last, best, badass first-person shooter for the system, I believe, that I've heard of. And it's called Perfect Dark. Made by the same company, I believe Rare, which also made 007. Rare also made Killer Instinct. Who'd have thought? Killer Instinct gets made by the same people who made these badass first-person shooters, 007 and Perfect Dark. So Perfect Dark is basically the same engine as 007, but improved, better, and everybody considers this a spiritual successor to 007. But you play as Joanna Dark and you go through a bunch of stuff and do all kinds of things. This had a HD remake recently on Xbox Live Arcade. People panned it, I believe. No, when Xbox 360 first came out, it came out with Perfect Dark Zero, and I guess that game was a prequel to this, and nobody liked it, I guess. I like it. I bought it. I got the steelbook version of it. But anyway. And, anyway, so, Perfect Dark. What more can I say about Perfect Dark? Well, since this is the end, it's a perfect segue. Since it's the end of my collection, this is a perfect segue to go into accessories. So, a while back, I bought a lot of accessories that came with, $5. You got the Rumble Pack, you got a few memory cards, and you got some other things I don't care to mention, but this is one of the things that came with it. And I was like, what the hell is this thing? Well, this plugs into a Nintendo 64, and I read on there, and it says, what's this say? Nintendo 64 Transfer Pack. I was like, what the hell? What are you transferring from Nintendo 64? Well, as it turns out, this is a Game Boy Color add-on, or Game Boy add-on, but I use it for Game Boy Color. What this essentially does is something really neat. You take Game Boy games, say Pokemon, a few of them are compatible with it, and then you link them up with the Nintendo 64 Pokemon, and it unlocks exclusive goodies. Does that apply to me? Hell no, I don't play Pokemon. What the hell are you thinking? Gotta catch them all, durr. No, I did like the cartoon. I'll be guilty of that. I'll say that. The cartoon was alright. I like that in Digimon. And I always thought Pokemon should go against Digimon. I like versus battles. They should do it. They never did. But anyway, back to the story. What did I learn about this? As it turns out, Perfect Dark links up to Perfect Dark, the Game Boy Color game. And if you're like me, you like Nintendo NES. And Game Boy Color is essentially Nintendo NES type graphics. 8-bit, full color, just as good as Nintendo NES. But Perfect Dark on here is like a third-person walk around, shooting people and stuff. Real fun game. But anyway, if you take this and you slide it into here, ta-da! Oh, you notice that battery pack? I guess that's for saves. You can use a battery to save. But anyway, you plug this into here, and then you plug it into your Nintendo 64, and you pop in your game, and then you go into your game menu, and it has cheats menu. And then with this plugged into that, it unlocks, I think, new outfits and new guns that you cannot unlock with the Game Shark. Only exclusive to the Game Boy Transfer Pack. And that is a cool feature. That's like DLC back in the day. It was very innovative. And you know what I think I like about it the most? Is you can still do it to this day. There ain't no servers closed down. It ain't got nothing to do with it. You can still do it with the hardware as long as the games work. Alright, so let's talk about accessories. Let's wrap this up, folks. Accessories. No Nintendo 64 will be complete without a Nintendo 64 Game Shark. This is my third one, and I've read about this on Wikipedia. These do have, these are like very cheaply made, I suppose, and they do die over time. I don't know. I had 2 of them break. This is my 3rd one. I bought it brand new. The other 2 I bought used, but this is my 3rd one, and I haven't had no trouble with this yet. As it turns out, it came with the box over there. See the little box, and it comes with VHS tape, and it tells you how to hack and all that stuff, and it comes with a manual, and it has like a serial port in the back of it. I guess you hook it up to Windows 95, Windows 98 or something, and at the time you could download codes right to it and stuff. Very innovative, but I can't use it. I'm not that savvy. Savvy, I say, savvy. I have the banana Donkey Kong Jr. or Donkey Kong Country controller. I got the atomic purple controller, and I got about 5 other gray controllers, and then one super pad controller, and then one super other pad I've already talked about in a previous video. So, but here's the meat and the potatoes of the deal. This is like the holy grail for me when it comes to the Nintendo 64. So many years I've wanted a fight stick. Look at all these fighting games. What do I have the most of? Out of all genres, fighting, third person, racing, and first person. Most of my games consist of fighting games. Look at that. All these fighting games. And most of them are, you know, fatality fighters. They all do fatalities. Sub-Zeros, Mythologies, Mortal Kombat, you know, War Gods, all those. I wanted a fight stick. And I went through the ranks and waited patiently year after year, and I got the dual arcade stick right there, and the buttons sucked on it. The buttons are generic, they're plasticky. Talking about that one right there, the one on the bottom. They're hard to push. I don't like them. Then you go for this one up here, the Arcade Shark, and that freaking stick, that fight stick is just, it is not good. I mean, it just feels flimsy as hell, and you feel like you're just gonna break it anytime. It's effective, yes, but no, it's not no fight stick, man. That's like child's play. They made it so generic any kid could break it. Hell, I'm afraid I'm gonna break it, so I don't even like it. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's great. You can use it for third person Castlevanias and stuff. The middle one right there that goes for analog, you know, sensitivity and stuff's great. You can use it as a flight stick if you want. But the digital over there, forget it. And it's got so much sway and so much leeway in the analog that you can use it as a fight stick. I mean, you could if you trained yourself, but it's not what you're used to. When you think of fight stick, you think of this. Or this. Right? Now that has this sound. That has the Japanese sandwall bubblegum ball kind of stick. But the buttons, see how cool these are? See how nice these are? Those buttons are like, sure they move, but you gotta push it so freaking hard to get it to respond. It's unbelievable. So I've been hoping, and I'm a big fan of anything that adds to a game, and one thing that adds to a game for me is being able to use PlayStation sticks or PlayStation controllers on other consoles. And I always said if I could use something like that on Nintendo 64, it'd be awesome. So that's where this thing comes in. See this little motorcycle controller? Well, I got a couple motorcycle controllers, and I've been looking for one for Nintendo 64 for a long time, specifically for Road Rash. You know, I'm a big fan of Road Rash. I got motorcycle race wheels for PlayStation, and I can use those on Genesis and everything else I have an adapter for. So I was looking for, just sparingly looking for one for Nintendo 64. It took me a couple months, and I found this one. And it caught my eye that it had a PlayStation adapter on it. Oh my gosh, I was so excited. Look at that. It has a PlayStation and Nintendo 64 adapter. I was like, oh my god, if I buy this, I don't care if that works, as long as this works. So, I got this in the mail, and it didn't work. The controller itself did not work. So I bought another one. One more. And I bought that, so I got 2 of them now. One without a box and one in the box. The one in the box don't work. That one does work. But this does not work with any PlayStation controller. You plug it into here, and it says controller not detected. So this, if you see this anywhere on eBay or anywhere for sale, it only works with that wheel. No other PlayStation controller will work with it. I don't know. Maybe it's the guts inside that are wired to it. Then we fast forward to this thing. This just recently popped up. And it's not a PlayStation controller adapter. It's a GameCube controller adapter. This GameCube adapter goes to Nintendo 64. It allows you to use GameCube controllers on your Nintendo 64. And I thought, yay, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So with that, I can use my PlayStation and GameCube adapter and then use my controllers on there. So I get this in the mail, and then none of my PlayStation stuff works with it. I'm like, shit. So no other adapter works with this to go to that. No PlayStation adapter works with this to go to that. I was like, shit. What the hell do I do? I was like, alright, fine. Last straw. I gotta find a GameCube arcade stick that will work with this. So I went and I searched and I searched and I searched and I tried every damn route I could get. And I even talked to the main guy who was selling this thing, and he said, oh, no GameCube controllers will work because there's no first-party Nintendo GameCube arcade sticks. Everything's third-party, and third-party stuff don't work. But good news, the GameCube wireless Wavebird will work with this. Regular Nintendo GameCube controllers will work with this and go to the 64. I'm thinking, I don't want to do that. The GameCube controllers suck for fighting games. I want an arcade stick for fighting games. So I didn't listen to him. I had one. I've done wasting money and bought another MAS arcade stick that was just like this, but it goes to GameCube. Didn't work with this adapter. So lo and behold, there was one more arcade stick to find, and it was the Soul Calibur 2 GameCube arcade stick. I was like, it's rare. I've got to try it. I just got to try it. I can't give up until I finally find one. Bought it, tried it, locked and loaded, kaboom, it worked. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, it finally freaking works. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. What's best about this adapter here is the buttons are remappable. So you can remap the C buttons and everything to wherever you want on there, and save 4 settings. Up, down, left, and right is a setting, and it comes with a little manual, tells you how to do it. Awesome, yay. But yeah, now that works. So where does this come in? Boom, 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 boom. This here, through trial and error. So I've already just a month had passed by, and I finally got me a good arcade stick. But it is kind of cumbersome because for every game you try, say Mortal Kombat, use a different button setting. So you gotta reset your buttons for that, or you can only save 4 button mappings in there, and it's kind of tedious to remap your buttons for every damn game you want to play. So anyway, you can only save 4 games for this, and you can see I got so many fighting games. Then this thing popped up on eBay, and I'm not unfamiliar with MAS. MAS stands for Multiple Arcade Stick Simulator or whatever. And it came with this goes to so many consoles. It goes to Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, GameCube, and he said a mysterious controller. Well, it turned out the mysterious controller is the Nintendo 64, and as soon as I saw that, I bought it. And sure enough, this sucker works on Nintendo 64. Alright, my final thoughts and my final let me say this. Most people say, man, you're dang crazy. Why don't you just use an emulator? You're dang crazy. Why you care? You could use any of your arcade sticks on PC with the Nintendo 64. And let me just say, it is cumbersome and inconvenient to use an emulator. Because, number one, you can't just plug it on and play it. You gotta turn on your computer, you gotta look for the folder, you gotta do all this nonsense. But it's just convenient in the way it was meant to be done, to play it on your home living room TV. You turn on your TV, you turn on your console, you're ready to go. That's why. My old Mitsubishi 55-inch TV does not have a computer hookup to it, so you can't hook a computer into it, even though I could buy an adapter for that one. But anyway, it's just convenient to just pop in my game and plug it in, turn it on. So the same tedious, cumbersome chasing down of flight sticks and the best arcade sticks I had to go through, and the same tedious hunting down trying to find the best or any motorcycle wheels, I had the same problem trying to get to the best steering wheel. So I finally found the best steering wheel, and it's the concept for racing wheel, and this thing is awesome. Real rubber wheel, remappable buttons. I liked it so much I bought it for PS2 also. So I bought one more. I bought 2 of these for Nintendo 64, and I bought 2 for PlayStation 1. And I use the Concept 4 on PS3. I use it on everything. The PlayStation wheel, because I got adapters on PlayStation. Awesome wheel. I don't regret getting it. I only have a few more. I only have a few boxes. Boxes are ready to have Body Harvest, Nuclear Strike, Top Gear Rally. And then I made some Turok 1, 2, 3, and 4 and Doom 64 boxes and Resident Evil 2 boxes. But that'll cover it. We're out of here. I already mentioned the TriStar 64. Alright. Thanks for watching. Boy, was that a big one or not? Oh, wait, I got one more thing. Doubles. There's my double games. Games so nice I had to buy them twice. WWF No Mercy, got 3 of them. Doom 64, got 2 of them. WCW vs. NWO, got 2 of them. WrestleMania 2000, got 2 of them. Turok 2, got 2 of them. If you're looking for a controller, a memory card, I recommend this digital one. It holds 4 memory cards in one, and it's got a springy button here. You push the springy button, and it goes to the next memory card. I totally dig it. This has all my wrestlers I've made on No Mercy on here. And yeah, always back up your stuff. Also, I have for this thing that I ain't be able to use, it's called the Nintendo 64 Dex Drive. And what it does is it takes your memory cards and it saves them to a computer. Well, I bought it and one of the floppy disks were freaking corrupt, so I can't use it, but I gotta buy another one. But anyway. Alrighty then. If you ain't gaming, I am. See you later.